Y'all ready to talk about the Tomb Raider? The legendary discoverer, Lara Croft? We about to have some fun, but before we go any farther, let's get one thing straight. There's a lot of interpretations of her. The games alone have had multiple reboots. You got the original timeline Lara Croft. She's known for her two pistols, which became iconic. Then you got this version of Lara who still has the two pistols. And then what we got is considered the brand newest one of her. And when it comes to her comic book version, there's like two different comic book timelines that I'm going to brush through on here as well. The animated her, the live action movie her, and another live action movie her that probably won't get a sequel. And we're probably going to get another live action reboot of this. But yeah, and it's going to seem like they're all mashed together. So I'm giving you a warning ahead of time. So this video is basically going to be like, what if Lara Croft did the fusion technique with all her versions of herself? Like on some technique from Dragon Ball Z type stuff where a character's mind, body, and soul share one body to become ridiculously more powered up than ever before. Or just think of it like this, like Dr. Fate transferring their mind, power, soul, and everything into one body. That's kind of how this video is going to feel when it comes to Lara Croft, because there's going to be so many versions of her in this vid that I'm going over. Let's get it. Going on adventures, learning how to use your environment as an advantage to survive, fighting hidden treasures, discovering new paths, finding lost tombs. It would be weird being a treasure hunter like she is to the point where, at least in one of her adventures or continuity, she doesn't drink from the fountain of youth, right? I mean, she has to get some benefit from discovering all these different treasures and tombs and stuff, right? Right? Situations where she discovered a race of beings that can control ice. One could say chronokinesis, a lot of different things she has discovered. I mean, it makes sense for a collector to have their own tiger, I guess, right? Laura does in comic lore. It's an over-the-top type of tiger, a mutant tiger, made to take on war elephants, talking about having stuff as a collector's item. She actually discovered Mjolnir. I know it's hard to believe. Greatest weapon on Earth. This is epic. I actually own this game when you get Mjolnir too. I'm talking about how to slay a giant and the Midgard serpent. Pretty much saying in this universe, gods do exist in this universe when it comes to mythologies and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of busted. Like, she was literally too powerful. Like, are you seeing this one-shotting type of stuff in the game? Yeah, but this is not some gift she always has. It was like near the end of this game in particular. You know what I'm saying? That the things they think are myths are actually true, like Thor and the God of Thunder, even in comic lore. You know what I mean? It's a lot to explore in her universes when powerful beings like this actually exist in their universes. I mean, she actually discovered the Excalibur. She's gotten different type of important artifacts over the years. Or the Shield of Athena. She found a way to get to another spiritual dimension, aka one could say the astral plane. This kind of stuff is ludicrous. I swear they should make a game one day where it allows you to use all the stuff she's discovered from the past games to fight in some crazy super war or something, because this would just be dope. Let her wield Mjolnir, let her wield Excalibur for different weapon types for melee combat in a big war type game with the creators of God of War directing the game. Wouldn't that be epic? No matter which continuity, this seems the path that Lara Croft seems to take, being an archaeologist, treasure hunting, discovering stuff like that, being a skilled fighter. Some continuities when it comes to hand-to-hand better than others. Doing all this while not having no superpowers shows your resilience. Lara Croft is one of those famous treasure hunting archaeologist type of survivor characters that you think of when you also think of the famous Nathan Drake from Uncharted Saga. Despite all these different versions of Lara Croft exist, and they have a lot of similarities, like when it comes to tomb raiding, literally, using the double pistols, but how strong is Lara Croft in general? To the point where she can carry different folks. When she's unarmed, she would just physically tear something off to make a new weapon, like turn this table leg off. This gate she can hold up while drowning, apparently. These blocks from the pyramid she can move, which have official weight in real life, if these are anything like the ones in real life. These blocks she was pushing weigh at least 2.5 tons. Death Battle calculated these blocks that she was apparently moving and said they weighed 27 tons and she was moving them, not picking it up though. That's what Death Battle said. She's able to move big old bull craps like this. Her animated version of herself, I feel like the more animated, the more over the top, because animation can do more stuff. So don't be surprised if you see a lot of crazy feats of strength when it comes to her strength in the animated version, to sling people around like they don't weigh nothing. I mean, stuff like this is just casual for her, and they stay like punching men in the air and they go flying. It's literally strong enough to kick statues apart, like the statue of Osiris, with her striking power. Notice how she's got leg strength, even in her early years, to jump over an entire gate with one leap. Or surrounded by all these weird creatures, she can sling them off of her while underwater and swimming when bullcrap happens, despite all of these type of dangers that's collapsing on them at the same time. Like, seriously, how do you still think this strategically when all this bullcrap is happening to you while you're not trying to die, while you're still trying to concentrate? It's easy to underestimate occasions like this where a dude pulls up on her and she just flips him like it ain't nothing. like he's not a full-blown 180-pound man or something. What really shows you how strong she physically is when you see her having to compete with different creatures. Like, we know for a fact she can punch a tiger and appears to make him sleepy, the kitty. The new Survivor reboot, Lara even has feats of kicking a literal shark to make it back off. She's not afraid to pick up weapons to improvise to knock you out, like a fire extinguisher, or use the said fire extinguisher to bash through a wall. This is pretty strong. During her Atlantis discoveries in one of her games, she's actually strong enough to have big old pillars like this. She can use her gear, of course, to help pull it down to crush this being she was fighting. Unearthly type beings, right? Her striking power is hard enough to break swords. Her combat version is pretty over the top because she be punching through pillars and sending folks flying. In these occasions, stunning armored soldiers and everything. I mean, it's more than one occasion of her kicking a tiger. During her mini fights, she kicks beings against the wall to damage the wall after the kick to show how hard she can kick. It's things like this nobody pays attention to, having the strength to kick folks airborne. You know she can strike really hard, and when it comes to martial arts skills, she has strength and technique because her punching bag, yeah, kind of gets messed up here and there. If I had to choose, I would definitely say her kicking power is above her punching power, but they both impressive. You know, when they literally state there's probably only 10 people alive who could climb this wall without any equipment, and she's one of them. I mean, she's such in shape, they say she could qualify for the Olympics. Comic logic be like, let me kick the living embodiment of the darkness in the universe known as the darkness. She staggered apparently in this comic. A being that's literally the living dark. You know what? Let's not do this. I'm not saying she's on the level of the darkness, but this is cool still. When you got the rebooted Lara Croft, which pretty much rebooted her story in newer times, this version of her actually has comic showings as well, not just in-game feats. In the comic lore, you can see her bend these prison bars. With help from a friend, they push this big old bullcrap, this wheel, large statues. In comics, you can see her have the strength to push it over on the soldiers. She got decent strength. When she was in prison, pulled this steel off. Support beam she's pulled down while she was getting shot at before to knock all that down. Had to literally elbow this Jaguar. One shot to pilot with a kick to the face. That simple. Hotel doors, she can just kick them down with her kicking power just to get into the room. Angelina Jolie's live action version of Lara Croft has shown strength as well to punch away a shark while underwater. Ridiculousness. Can neck chop kill you with her striking power. Stone statue she can chop through because of her strength, I guess. Things like this nobody notices, like knocking men out with tactical gear on with like blunt punches. Like, bruh, uses guns as melee weapons after she's shooting to knock folks out like that. She might not be the most over-the-top version of strength, but she's still shown to do some superhuman-esque type of stuff. She's been blasted through walls, tables. Yeah, the new game has comic books. She was tortured, and she would not give up information. Been hit or fought beings, surviving hits from beings that's as strong as a gorilla to show all the over-the-topness she has to deal with. Imagine solid ice hitting your head and you still can function. She doesn't wear that much armor, and the amount of damage we see her take kind of implies her durability or just straight willpower to be able to get knocked through doors like this. Battling dragon-like beings like this, being hit and still being able to continue after being hit into a bookshelf. Being hit by beings that can go through walls like they're made of butter. Then if we're talking about her gear in the comics, taking on these jaguars, she has to use her weapons to get the jump on them. Otherwise, she would be able to take them on. Yikes. In the new Tomb Raider continuity, she has literal bow and arrows that can pierce armor. Fear arrows for hallucination. Poison arrows, explosive arrows that are basically like grenades. Fire arrows, her gear like crossbows that have the power to pierce stone, so they're pretty strong. Can be used for multiple purposes, like a zip line, if it's needed. I mean, when you're a climber and have to go to these tombs that are not supposed to be entered or have traps, you got to have a whole bunch of gear in preparations for being able to move distances and stuff. Of course, she got grenades, special silver bullets in case she fights mystical type creatures like vampires or wolves and stuff, hollow points, guns with a silencer, assault rifles, Uzis, machine guns, blah, blah, blah. She got some decent finances, so she got a helicopter, arrows with ropes, flares, an invisible sword, and going to different cultures and discoveries, Jeep, or cars that have glass that's bulletproof, motorcycles to ride, her own plane, and a yacht. Her animated version of her has like this little helicopter floating vehicle type of standard gear, even snow gear, flying gear, that are actually bulletproof to a certain degree. Yeah, this version of her got some gear. and they actually look pretty awesome. Her animated version has busted gear to where Medusa head that turn you into stone on Athena's shield. She can resist it thanks to her special gear, or one could say her goggles. These lenses helped her out with that. Stuff that would have otherwise turned her into stone. But it doesn't turn her into stone despite the people behind her getting turned into stone. Infrared glasses, stone for you. Really long poles she can use as gear. Kind of like another form of a zip line between different buildings. Okay. Binoculars, earplugs, all this underwater diving stuff. It makes sense. Flashlight, oxygen tank. Obviously, she got gear to climb snow, so she won't just slip easily. Stuff that she has in pretty much all the games, even in the newer games. In the comments, she eventually got this amulet that she wears around her neck. That's not just for show. It can ward off these Black Legion or whatever in this particular occasion. Her gear shot down and shot up a T-Rex, making it go night-night. Large golems like this, she has to fight, with her guns, and the guns can do the job. She even does the math and talks about how 26 shots is known to drop one of these. This is important when you're strategically having to battle more than one. She has to shoot up a whole bunch of different kind of monsters in her career, and if she's outnumbered, she can like mow down armies. Her gear seems to be pretty good because this is how she's able to take on futuristic-esque type of robots. Big entities like this, she definitely can't take on physically, but her guns on top of it and well-placed shots can indeed even the odds, because you see how they ricocheting like that. So you know she's gonna have to do a well-placed shot, or else it ain't gonna cut it. But unfortunately for you enemies, Lara Croft has battle IQ in this universe like crazy. Yikes to you. She has gear in this animated version that can blast apart some ice with its destructive capacity, and so much damage mythological creatures like the Kraken with her different weapons. And she's like right there next to it. When she's outmatched, clearly she can use her pistols to kind of lure a T-Rex into a trap during the battle to do what you got to do to damage the T-Rex. To win against them like this, knocking them into stuff like that to get the W. She's had to battle against gorillas that are this strong to throw big boulders because of her guns kind of making up for whatever her strength might lack. Atlantean centaurs she's had to fight, using her brains and battle IQ to use this special shield to counter haxy stuff they can do, like for example being able to deflect it back to turn you into stone, then finish them off after turning them into stone with her pistols. Big bull crap like this she's had to fight, mythological creatures like the Kraken she's had to deal with. Old games like this, Lara had to deal with this big Chinese dragon that can shoot fire at you with her guns and stuff to help even the odds. Fighting overpowered Krakens, not to mention with her weapons, helping her even odds, even cutting a piece of them off. Like, this is ridiculous. Are you insane? Other than her pistol, she can use blades or knives to take down creatures as well if she can't just do it with her blunt fist. In this occasion, she had to struggle with a crocodile and she stabbed it. And we've seen her use axes to mess up some chain. Comic book version's speed when it comes to her reaction. Notice how she be fighting beings that's fast enough to react to bullets that are mid-flight. Like how this being in particular blocked the bullets and they ricochet. Like, that's the type of stuff she has to compete against when it comes to raw speed. Yet she's able to dance around beings with her raw agility, combat, fighting, paralysis, speed, and stuff. She has to be able to think quick because these tombs she be in be having traps out of the blue and stuff, so you have to be able to think quick on your feet. Or literally be on like a skinny pole and avoid getting shot from all this BS. She's been shot at a lot. She's still alive. This right here could imply she blocked the bullet itself with her gun, with her reflexes. Part of this is skill, but you have to be fast when a knife is this close to your throat, but you still can counter anyway because of your skills in fighting speed paralysis. When arrows are pointed at her, it implies she can move out the way of them in time. Seriously, how do you outspeed beings that have a gun to your head this close, but you still manage to miss and she can blitz you instead with her own gun? Fighting creatures, you can see how fast she can wrap these chains around these different entities that way. You can't really hit her with miniguns. Flamethrowers she has to avoid. All these different entities or beings she had to fight that are actually pretty freaking fast, she has to be able to compete with to not get blitzed. Like, she's shooting, right? And these beings have the ability to manipulate ice to where they block the attacks before the bullets hit them, showing their speed. Definitely dodge arrows mid-flight. Even if she's snowboarding, she can block it with her snowboard. Crossbow darts that are this close she can dodge. Yeah, don't try to hit her with no arrow. She has really good reflexes, if I'm being honest. Animated her can react and dodge to all these folks shooting at her at the same time, even block some in time just like this to get the jump when she needed to, dance her way around all this BS, fighting speed-wise. Dodging blast is just another day in the life for her at this point, fighting superhuman beings and stuff based on all the different things she be discovering. Matter of fact, she's so fast, somebody can literally be firing at you and she still blitzes you in the process regardless of you firing at her. Imagine having all these beings pointing at you and you still avoid all the bull crap. fighting werewolves, using battle IQ to put a grenade down his throat to get the advantage over beings that's superior to her, taking out these wolves by using the environment to get an advantage over them, to damage them. Her fighting ability, we've seen her use suplexes on beings that try to get the drop on her. We've literally seen her training on panel in martial arts, growing in skill to the point, learning about new different weapons and all type of melee combat on top of it, getting skilled enough to the point where she can actually win. During the final stage of training, this part is shown. You can kind of see her progression or how much she's grown in these different training sessions. So it's pretty obvious that she's a skilled fighter, especially when you have full comics pretty much telling her training sessions. Assassins don't want that smoke, can escape holes even if there's more than one of them. Imagine pulling out a weapon on her thinking you're going to use that against her when she uses your weapon against you. I like riding creatures and stuff, but give me your motorcycle instead. A combination of speed, agility, reflexes, blah, blah, blah to get your motorcycle because she wants it. Multiple skilled bodyguards she can take on both of them, just hand-to-hand combat. Or security, y'all ain't ready. Even if she's strung up helpless and you think there's no way she can get down, she's good at improvisation to escape against these cultists that do the impossible, and y'all get blitzed. You know, catches the knife, catches it with her feet, throws her knife to herself to cut the ropes around her, blah, blah, blah. I guess the element of surprise can help as well because she's definitely above average and faster than anybody that you would expect to come. Just fighting 2 Yakuza would be considered impressive, but this is nothing compared to her beating 50 trained troopers. They had it all planned out and everything. Oh man, we're going to abduct her. I'm afraid not. Inconvenient underwater fights, she's even wins against more than one being. Even after not having no breathing apparatuses on, using knives, improvisation, there's stuff against them to get their breathing equipment and y'all are done. Dang, you just left them for the sharks, bruh? God dog. We've seen her learn to use alien guns that she's not used to using to mess up a hovercraft or aircraft. Accuracy at throwing shurikens in the comics. And of a whole bunch of scorpions on her guns, she can throw something and get those scorpions off her guns. Her skill is so good, even when they got a whole car to protect themselves and she's only on the motorcycle, she can still shoot them direct shots with marksmanship. Can accurately shoot hinges off of gates while driving. In convenient areas like her building the wheel of a helicopter, she still can light you up. Even if you got the element of surprise on her and they try to storm her room, she outshoots all of y'all despite there being a lot more to shoot. Police officers even talk about how she would be an Olympic gold for shooting because of her accuracy. It's a lot harder to shoot something while it's mid-air. It's because of her accuracy, the reason why she can shoot a T-Rex in the eye, get the advantage over them that way. You see how they clearly got the advantage there on the plane, and she got all this exposure, yet she still can headshot them with her accuracy. In the new Saga, she likes to use these climbing axes as literal weapons to take folks down. That comes in handy when she has to take on bears. She can use this stuff against the bears themselves. So you can see a case of her swordsmanship here, taking on this knight and sword type of play to show her melee combat skills. In spear combat, she was able to defeat the best warriors with the skill of a spear. So yeah, spear skills. And no, she's not an amateur when it comes to pure melee combat. Can you call her Hawkeye? Using bow and arrows, even when her concentration is wavered, she can still get perfect bullseyes with different gear and an assortment of weapons. She took care of a dragon. Her skills in the Tomb Raider reboot are still good to the point where she's held up at gunpoint. The moment they get distracted, she's smart enough to improvise and take advantage of the situation and disarm him and take care of him. And changing the whole situation that quickly. She can fire multiple arrows simultaneously with marksmanship skill. In the new Tomb Raider reboot, we don't really get to play with her using just straight boxing you up type of hand-to-hand combat type stuff in the new game. But in the lore, it's heavily implied. She has pure hand-to-hand fighting skills and training, even in the new continuity in the comics. Because in between both games where she was technically a noob right here, when this one came out, there was definitely a time skip in between, so she could have got training, severe training in between those events. She's skilled with a staff type of combat to keep her skills sharp. Part of the reason why she can fight is because it appears she was in some type of military group, so it makes sense. In the 2018 movie, you can see her doing boxing training as sparring sessions to get her hand-to-hand right. So pretty much any continuity, she can just freaking fight. As you can see, she's pretty freaking strong. Some are more over the top than others. I would say a lot of these Laras have like multi-ton level feats when it comes to her physicals, not even counting her busted weapons like she gets in some of these universes, like Mjolnir and Excalibur and stuff. Avoiding bullets most of the time, and the fact she's not bulletproof, she can withstand bullcrap, fight krakens. It's just a lot to her. What do you guys think? Do you respect Lara Croft? I don't know if they're ever going to do this, but it would be dope to have some more hand-to-hand combat in the future Tomb Raider games, and I would love to be able to use some previous relics or traces that we discovered from the past stuff, you know, in the form of combat, right? Maybe in the very, very old games, you know, bring those back into like some multiverse type stuff to where you can use like previous weapons or some over the topness or some crap, but I doubt that'll happen. That's just my optimistic thinking. But what do you guys think? Do you respect Lara Croft? Which version of her do you think is the most over the top? On who's got the physically best feat? And then you got occasions like this, like her stunning beings like the darkness, the living embodiment of the concept of darkness. Comic one might have the title, but yeah, respect her though regardless. But what do you guys think? Before I get going though, thanks for the donations, everybody. It helps out a lot. Respect Lara Croft. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.